Welcome to Tips for Gamers. Today we're going to be talking about some Ohio State football. They are becoming Air Force One. They're becoming wide receiver U. They're becoming quarterback U, and it's starting to become ridiculous. They have such a talented team that it is insane. And right now they're number 2 behind Notre Dame. But the thing is, you know, if you're an Ohio State fan, yeah, you want them to be number 1. No question. If you're Alabama, well, regardless of the school, you want them to be number 1. But look at things in a different scope. In 2022, Ohio State was 4th. Look at this. I mean, they were doing work. Texas A&M doing great. Let's go to 2021. Ohio State's number 2 on the list with 7 5-stars. I mean, these guys, they're still playing, some of these guys. You go to 20, they were 5th. So it just keeps adding up, and you kind of look at it, well, where's Notre Dame? You know, and this is why, as much as Notre Dame is 18th, but this is why, as much as you look at it and go, well, yeah, this school's winning, when you just keep adding on and adding on, like Ohio State does, Georgia, Alabama, even Clemson, LSU kind of takes a little part in that too, it starts to become really, really crazy. And Ohio State also has the best quarterback, number 1 player in the nation next year with almost a perfect rating coming to him, Dylan Raiola. So in 2024, you'll see Dylan Raiola, which we'll show you here. Insane. So they're becoming Air Force One. And how exactly are they becoming Air Force One? Well, if you look at it, we did a video on this too. Ohio State is getting the best wide receivers in college football. And Alabama's getting the best cornerbacks, too, which is really cool to see. They have 2 cornerbacks in the top 3 right now, Alabama. And Ohio State has 2 of the top 3 best wide receivers. And it's still, the list goes on. And in the top 9, they have 3 guys. And then you could scroll down the list here and see Ohio State here, which they're actually beating Bama. This is Bama's first wide receiver that they got. So Bama's best wide receiver is ranked worse than Ohio State's 4th. And this is it's just crazy, and it doesn't stop there. It goes to even tight end, you know, and Alabama needs to jump up in this. They really need to jump up because, yes, you're getting the cornerbacks, but you got to pull in some of these other guys. And there's a likelihood that they will because of the fact that, you know, it's Bama, but they really need to. That is the big thing because this aerial assault that they're bringing in is just, it's getting out of hand. I mean, it really is getting out of hand. And I think Brandon Inniss is actually the number 1 guy at wide receiver. No offense to Branch. I think Branch is fantastic. They pulled Brandon Inniss from USC. USC could have had 1 and 2, which is insane. But the Ohio State said that's not happening. And he actually had to play quarterback. So he didn't get as much stats as a wide receiver. He actually, because the quarterback got injured, he had to go play quarterback for his team, and he still is ranked number 2. I mean, you got to watch him play. He's insane. Carnell Tate is fantastic, and all the guys that they could bring on, which, by the way, Brian Hartline, the recruiter at Ohio State, he is just becoming another level of insanity. These guys are just so good, and any one of them can play the X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's just, there's no question about it. They can play it. And then they're doing good on cornerbacks, too. They're doing really good. He's ranked 8th, too. In his position, he's 11th. So, and that's really where, I mean, you really have to compare them with Bama, right? That's really what you want to do. So with wide receivers, they're beating Bama. They're beating Georgia, right? And then you see Bama here. Bama's got 2 out of 3, which is huge. Texas A&M is coming up big, though. I mean, they really are. Texas A&M, the Texas schools are like, we produce good cornerbacks and we want to keep them. But here's where Ohio State's getting a little bit of the edge when it comes to the deep backs and wide receivers, if you're averaging this out, is you have freaking Johnson, and then you have Lee, and then you have Calvin Simpson Hunt coming on the list. So in the top 22, they got 3. That's pretty big. And then they got a lot of safeties as well. They're getting safeties because they're going to use a lot of safeties at Ohio State. They actually got this guy, Calvin Simpson Hunt, to decommit from Texas Tech and then commit to Ohio State it was like in a day. So there is that. And then we look at the position rankings too at safety here. And they're looking to bring on Caleb Downs. Now it's a fight between, I believe, Georgia. It's a fight between Alabama. And it's a fight between Ohio State. Now, Georgia does not want to lose this guy. They do not want to lose this guy, because if they lose this guy, especially at Ohio State comes in and picks Caleb Downs, the number one guy in your state, away from you. That's worse than Oregon picking the number one guy out of Michigan from Michigan, because even though they lost that really good quarterback, Dante Moore, you got to be careful because they already got Hartford, and Ohio State is just not done. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. Ohio State's even in the mix here with Bonsu, and it's intense. Look at Penn State coming up too. So Ohio State is doing work. Now, where is Ohio State not doing work? Okay, Ohio State is not perfect, no question about it. They lost a tight end to Notre Dame, Brandon Vernon, and he was out of Ohio State, four-star, or not a tight end, a D lineman, sorry. And he ended up going to Notre Dame. So Notre Dame got one up on Ohio State. Big pickup there. But the other thing, too, with Ohio State is what is Ohio State doing? Ohio State knows that they got depth. They just brought on JT and Jack Sawyer, okay, in class of 2021. That's huge because these guys came in as a package deal, and they're now sophomores. And these guys are really good. They're looking to be the next Chase Young. They're looking to be the next, big guys that came through, the Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa. These guys are primed for takeover, and they are some lions. Okay, so they do have those, but that's not over. Luke Montgomery here is a solid tackle. He's number one in the state at Ohio. He's fourth overall, so the fourth best lineman that you could get is going to Ohio State, so that's pretty impressive. He's eighth, like we said. But the problem that they have is not D linemen. The problem is offensive linemen. And offensive linemen are the hardest to recruit, period. And I'm not talking about just recruiting. I'm talking about even getting a gauge on how good they are. Because you could get guys that are like really, really talented, and then you're looking at them and you get them on the field and they just don't pan out. I mean, how many guys transfer out of Ohio State as linemen, Alabama, Georgia, that are like 4 and 5 star, and you're like, why is this guy transferring out? It's because he couldn't start. So Ohio State needs to bring on one guy and one guy more than everyone else. And the other guys they need to bring on, they're already looking to bring on one of the best D-line classes like they always do. People have this misconception that Ohio State doesn't bring on the same guys as Alabama, Georgia, and that's just not accurate, and we'll show you guys here in a second. And this is what happens with Ohio State. Ohio State got a new defensive coordinator, so hopefully you'll be able to see the talent that's going to Ohio State instead of like you don't see it, because a lot of times these guys end up going into the draft and end up doing really good. They went late because they didn't do that good at Ohio State because their defensive coordinator just is ridiculous, and then they end up doing well when they're in the NFL. And this isn't a shock, but the biggest thing here is you're getting the D linemen, you're getting the linebackers too, you're getting the safeties, you're getting the wide receivers, you're getting the quarterbacks, you're getting the running backs, you're getting all that. They need to get another running back, but you need to get offensive linemen. Okay, and they're getting offensive linemen, but they're not getting the offensive linemen that they need to get. And you can't lose to Georgia. You can't lose to Alabama on this, because Sampson here is a huge pickup. They already have the fourth best offensive tackle in the country. You need to get the third best as well, because they have great linemen. You got your big dudes here like Austin, who's your interior line. This guy is the guy who they're bringing on to move the defensive linemen of Georgia and Bama. That's what this guy is. He is your guy that you're like, we're going to run behind him, and he is going to push that 5-star recruit out of the way. And that's what he's coming in for, and he can do it. This guy is a beast, and I mean a beast. Going up against him, nah, I don't think so. I wouldn't want to do it. I mean, I'd love to. I just can't wait to watch him move guys, because I really think he's going to have a highlight reel of just trucking dudes like he's a fullback. But you got to bring on Sampson. You got to bring him on. Georgia's in the mix, I believe. Alabama's for sure in the mix. Ohio State, Michigan State. But you go over here, and we were talking about, the guy that Ohio State lost to Notre Dame. Well, that's really not that big of a deal. I know it sucks. It's a gut shot for Ohio State fans and for the college, but and the coaching staff. But the thing is you're bringing on guys like this. Like, this guy's projected to go to Ohio State, number 2 in the country. Okay, the number 1 in the country went to Notre Dame. But the number 2 in the country, this guy's a monster, is looking to go to Ohio State. This guy's looking to go to Georgia. And these are all rumors. This could change at any time. Troy Bowles is looking at either Georgia or Ohio State. Those are the rumors, but of course things can change. Wilson here, another edge guy, 7th best in the nation. There's 3 dogs that are going after him, and it's all the big ones: Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama. Everyone else said, no, okay, we're good. They're not looking to pick him up, which they really should. I believe he's going to Georgia. That's kind of the rumors that are swirling with him. Jason Moore, another D lineman, really big dude. He needs to gain a little bit more size, but he'll be able to do that depending on where he's going to play. He is looking to go to Ohio State. So far you have one of the best edge guys. You're competing with one of the other edge guys that are really good, and then you're getting another defensive lineman. Because the list goes on, you got another defensive lineman here, John Walker, who is looking to commit, 11th best D lineman. Big fella, 6'3", 310, going to Ohio State. That's the predictions. And then you got Tackett Curtis, who's looking to go to Ohio State, 7th best. And this kid, he is a missile. It looked like he was playing safety at high school, which is crazy that you're playing safety. But a lot of teams that he was running against, or going against too, they're running like this Air Force type, Army wishbone, just heavy run. Doesn't look like there's a wide receiver in sight, and this kid is just gunning. And I mean, like, just going after people, headhunting. He is a nasty hitter. But you got Rawl here, and he is looking at going to some different schools. Ohio State is in the mix, but I believe Arkansas, and then you have Alabama's in the mix. So there's guys going after him. I don't think Georgia's in the mix with him at all. This guy here is looking. They're looking at picking him up at Alabama. So it looks like they might lose that. You never know. Ohio State could come in and pick him up. But Bama's looking to pick up a loss, however you say her name. And then you got Thurman here, another tight end, who you got the mix between Michigan State, Auburn, and Alabama. So Big Ten, SEC squaring off, the best of the Big Ten. And then the halfway pack, Michigan State's probably better than Auburn. Just throwing that out there. Probably a little, no shot at Auburn, but just Michigan after last year a little bit, they're doing good in recruiting as well. So this is a big fight, and if Ohio State can pull him in, that'd be huge for him. So the rest of the guys on the list of this, Jaden Bonsu is actually, he looks like Ohio State's taking the lead from Miami. So those two are the ones competing the most, and I believe Michigan State might even be into that. But looks like they're projecting that he's going to go to Ohio State, which is pretty crazy. They're also projecting that Reese is going to go to Ohio State. So pretty big there. Now, where they're losing out is quarterback, which I guess isn't the worst thing, because when you have the depth you have at Ohio State, and you're just like, yeah, we got a lot of dudes. I mean, they just got a really good guy out of Utah, too, last year. So it's not like they're, like, hurting so badly that it's terrible. But, I mean, it's not like you're trying to replace C.J. Stroud anytime soon. But still, it'd be nice for Ohio State to grab a quarterback. That'd be cool. But Brock Glenn is looking at going to Auburn. It's probably a smart move for him, too, because at Ohio State, like, it's a numbers game. Same with Alabama, Georgia. But at Ohio State in particular, it's a numbers game. They're bringing on so many good guys at quarterback that it's like you're going to go there, and it's going to be the hardest competition that you have ever dealt with in your life. So him going to Auburn, it may be like it's the best option for me. I'm going to actually be able to start. That could be a part of it. Who knows? He still could end up going to Ohio State. You just don't know. But if you look at this entire list and all the guys that are potentially going, I think the guy to watch out for is Samson. If he goes, that's the huge news. I mean, it's so massive. I can't even describe how big that would be if Ohio State can pull him in. If Ohio State pulls in Caleb Downs, huge move. So Ohio State's looking at just replenishing the D-line, bringing in really good guys on the D-line. They're bringing in good linebackers as well. Safeties, corners, wide receivers, tight end. They really need, the offensive line, and it would be nice for them to pick up a running back and maybe a quarterback as well. It'd be kind of weird to see Ohio State go for a 3-star quarterback if they felt the need to go for a quarterback and they had no options beside a 3-star. It'd be a little bit odd. Ohio State gets another commit from Miles Walker. He's a 3-star prospect, even though I don't think he's a 3-star prospect. I don't. And I have to disagree with them completely because look at the guys who are going after him. Texas A&M, Ohio State. You think Texas A&M is going after a 3-star and battling out Ohio State for a 3-star? Is that what you think? You think Iowa is doing that? You think Penn State, West Virginia, you think they're all just sitting there going, hey, yeah, we're going to all battle it out for this 3-star, and that's what we're going to do? I don't think so. I think this guy, he's got good size. I think he could get a lot better too. But if you watch him play, he is very talented. There's no question about it. And he could be very good. So I think this was a good pickup for him. And I do believe that he is at least a 4-star. But anyways, if you guys like this content, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
High ambitions in the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives. You create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot. You got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5. No mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts.